approval of the minutes from our November meeting. If anybody has any additions or corrections at this time? No? Motion to approve?
I make a motion to approve
Or what?
accept and approve the minutes from November 18th, 2024.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Me?
Okay, Michelle.
Okay, all right, so I guess we've had 2 meetings since your last meeting. At our December meeting, we approved the budget calendar for FY '26. We are doing a budget earlier from now on because we now have the county sending out our real estate property tax bills. So we have to have our budget adopted by April to meet their deadline. So we're working on that fast and furious now. And there'll be a public hearing at the April 14th meeting for council. We also issued a proclamation for Mary Ann Murray. She had been our auditor for a long time, and she officially retired recently in the company she was with now. They asked us to do a proclamation for her. And then we extended our snow removal contract just in time. So, yeah, we've blown our budget already, so. See what happens. And then at the January meeting, we had our FY '24 audit presentation by Witham, who is our auditor. We got a clean, good financial report, so that was good. We also extended our task order for GHD, our engineers that are doing the inspection services and construction services for the wastewater treatment plant expansion, because that project has continued to drag on a little bit for the last few details to get finished. So we needed to extend that contract for their inspections, and we also started the water tower last month on Meadows 2, and so the inspector is also kind of watching out for the water tower as well for right now while they're still here. We extended it till the end of March. We just had to update this meeting this morning, and they're getting very close, but it's little things that they're doing now. Not sure if they'll get it done by March, but hopefully. And then we also excitedly submitted the comp plan draft to the state on January 10th. We're waiting, they'll review it, they will have it back no later than March 11th to us. So we'll be scheduling a public hearing for you all, in front of you all on March 17th at that meeting. And we'll get the draft out to you ahead of time, so you have time to look at it. A couple of you have worked on the committee and have seen it already. And then you'll forward a recommendation to town council, who can adopt it in April at their meeting after another public hearing. And then we extended phase 5 of the Mahan, Reichel, Arnett, Muldrow downtown and waterfront plan work that we've been doing with them. We're focusing on the waterfront, kind of taking the plans to another level, trying to get the food hall to a place where we can actually build it. And we're looking at working with them to work with the Main Street Committee on some of the zoning changes that may be recommended by that committee for the downtown area, but as well as our next phase after the comp plan, we'll start on some zoning amendments. So just keeping them on board when we need them for their expertise. Any questions?
Okay, thank you. Our new business today is case number 100-15C, which is Meadows at Town Run Section 2, Phase 3, the community building and 1 apartment building.
Yes. So, members, the subject property is located on the east side of Maryland Route 245 in close proximity to its intersection with McIntosh Road. It's better known as the Wilkerson Farm. Excuse me. The southern boundary of the property adjoins the town of Leonardtown municipal limits through the Meadows at Town Run Section 1, Phase 2. The farm was annexed into the town in August of 2015. The property was recommended to Town Council on January 18, 2022 by Leonardtown Planning Commission for concept approval. Town Council approved the concept on February 14, 2022. St. Mary's County Soil Conservation District and St. Mary's County Department of St. Mary's County Soil Conservation District requested a revised phasing plan to limit the amount of disturbance on the project. The owner and engineer consultant revised the plan and changed phasing of the project to accommodate the St. Mary's County Soil Conservation District. On December 12, 2022, the town approved the revised phasing plan, which consists of constructing the main road into the subdivision, identified as Wildflower Drive as Phase 1, the rear of the site located adjacent to the proposed new water towers, and that has now been identified as Phase 2 of the project, which consists of the 74 townhouses. Phase 3, which is the phase that we're bringing forward, consists of one apartment building with 36 units within the building as well as a community building. The state highway entrance at the intersection of Hollywood Road, Maryland Route 245 has been completed. Meadows at Town Run Section 2 Phase 1 Wildflower Drive was approved and issued a construction permit on May 10, 2023. Wildflower Drive Phase 1 and the 74 townhouses Phase 2 are currently under construction with the placement of utilities along said roads. Phase 3, the community building and one apartment building, 36 units, was submitted on August 30th, 2024 to St. Mary's County Public Works and Transportation and St. Mary's Soil Conservation for final approval. The town received DPW and SCD final site development plan on September 3rd, 2024. The Town Planning Department and Capital Projects Department have reviewed and approved the final site development drawings. Please note that the town-owned water tower is proposed to be built by the town, not the developer, in Phase 2. The town is working closely with all parties involved, and a grading permit has been issued to Stormwater Management Solutions on January 3rd, 2025. In addition to that, I just issued a building permit for that storage facility today. So architectural plans for both the community building and the one apartment building have not been submitted to the Town Planning Department or the State Fire Marshal for review and approval. However, facade renderings have been included in your review packages for approval. This phase will also require EDUs, which are not currently available until the wastewater treatment facility upgrade has been completed. The projected completion date for the facility upgrade is March of 2025. Record plat for Section 2, Phase 3 cannot be recorded until the EDUs have been approved and assigned to Phase 3. So action needed today, the applicant is requesting final site development plan, architectural facade, and record plat approval for Phase 3, the community building and one apartment building, pending fire marshal approval. The Planning Commission can either vote to approve with conditions, delay, or deny. And Rodney Gertz is here with QDH. If you have any questions,
I can just hold them, Joe.
That's all right.
or I can,
Yeah, I'm right here.
Okay.
I'm not gonna trip over a phone cord this time.
Audience.
Just to, it's a lot of the boards are, some of the same boards, but we do update the architecture as we're kind of going along the project. It's kind of things you have seen, but primarily for this phase, I'm gonna start kind of showing you, give you an overview of where we are on the overall project. So I'm gonna put something up that's gonna give you a better overall view in one of these two. And with this being the entire project, and as Mike had said, the main drag coming in. Everybody, can I turn this way? You get it?
Yeah.
So the main drag coming in was that first phase that we put in, and this road's all the way built to here right now. We just put sidewalks and street trees in areas. We're trying to create even the streetscape, even when people do start purchasing. And it's very difficult to start a project and start it in the back. That's just how it naturally kind of worked here. And we kind of changed that phasing plan on the way, even for, looking at public safety. Like once we're building back here, we want kind of most of the construction out there instead of constantly pushing it back. So we're kind of building here and working our way back out. This is the area that we're talking about tonight. This is phase 3, which is the rec center's here, the first apartment building here, which is kind of nice even about in this setting, even with the apartments, they're kind of, they're not stacked great. Now, you know, you do get privacy behind all of them. There's just a way it all lays out. I love how the project lays out. So excited about every little piece of that. So this is in infrastructure right now. This is all graded, put the grade, the sewer lines are running around this loop right here. They've got some stormwater management running right now. They're, you know, dealing with, probably staying off, but we're telling them to stay off of it right now just because of the frozen weather and that. We just don't, so they're hunting and pecking with it, with what they can do with some little stuff, but they'll hopefully when this weather breaks, they'll kind of get full back in gear. But we plan on having all this in by late spring, hopefully starting the first buildings by then. We do have the taps for, this is phase 2, so this did have taps. So we will be trying that. We're doing directional drills this winter that will go from phase 1 to phase 2 that'll bring both the force main, the pump station down here, so the force main will go across. We'll have power that will connect between both communities. They'll come in from the front and from the back, so SMECO has good access everywhere, and then the water line will be coming across as well. So, yeah, so it's a lot going on. It's these big projects are I get so excited about getting there, and then you get, and there's such a story to do, and then when they do get there, they seem to be done. As it goes by, but we are super excited. This was another one that we had originally, and it was just showing more connectivity and the sidewalks, the future path that will connect phase, you know, Meadows 1 to Meadows 2. And there'll be a covered bridge at some point down here, just kind of an aesthetic, kind of a little piece, and yeah, so it's all getting ready to come to fruition. So then some of the updated architecture was really just to give you views, kind of as if you were, so the townhouses, we're not even really talking about those tonight, and that's kind of the last few there, but this would give you kind of views of the phase, really that one doesn't even matter, it's really the phase that we're talking about, which would be, you know, this is the rec center, kind of looking here, you can see the apartment building in the background there. So we kind of just put this on, we did this on the software, and then you can kind of just manipulate it and get pictures. So I never know what exact picture, but we do have it. If anybody, if Mike wanted to come over to see, like, kind of you see it evolve, but your tennis courts are here, the playground, the apartment building there, the rec center sits here, this pavilion. Excited about all of this, because that's actually going to be a very great facility. The floor plans, we have both this building and the apartment building are supposed to be finalized. We kind of went over here with the architects on the final drawing, and what happens is you're going on a project like this, if you get too far ahead with it, and then the codes change. So we really had all this roughed in as we got this approved, and now we're kind of now they're going to getting the buildings ready to be built. So both of them are telling us at the end of February, 1st March, they're going to have, you know, detailed plans, but they're very detailed. This plan, I sat in a meeting probably about a month ago, and it was just on all the final decisions on this to be done with the rec center. And we actually designed that where it didn't look like, you know, when we do some of our own rec centers, they look like a builder did it, and we kind of wanted to really make it, we wanted to compliment the community, but we really wanted to make it look like it was, you know, when people come in, they know that it's the rec center. It's a very, you know, this is like a gym with a yoga studio. There'll be an office over here. I mean, it's really well done. It's a great facility. The interior, I mean, as everybody does see it, they'll love it. This is just the exterior, and I think for this, the architectural, but that's what it's gonna be looking like, you know, kind of looking from the back. This will be actually a little nicer than what that showed up on the software we have. The plans look much nicer than how that, with the rail that they have over the porch in the back and covered with the pool there. So, yeah, so just some different views. This is all just, you know, getting different views, kind of looking more straight on, and this once again is just, you know, kind of the views that we're kind of getting from every angle to give you a sense of it. You guys are more welcome to keep these boards too. We can literally just take these off and put them back on there if there was any need to have them here, if anybody.
I don't have any.
Okay, yeah, because just if anybody, you know, had any questions, but that's kind of where we are, and excited about keep dragging forward. So, where our goal would be that we would get, and that's why it's, you know, so we got taps coming. I know it seems we just say, okay, well, the Georgian plant. But if you don't keep moving every piece forward, you can't really get, you know, by the time you get one piece done to start, the approval process needs to take long. So anything when it comes to buildings and all would be tied to no permits we release wherever until those, you know, so we'll kind of time all that out. But that's kind of the only, you know, to really keep these projects evolving. I would like to actually be building this building, hopefully by the end of this year. The goal would be to get phase 3 roughed in this summer. We'll put the kind of the parking lots in and get all the kind of infrastructure and parking in. I don't know the best way to show that. So all of this, all these parking bays and spaces and just getting all the utilities run, and then, you know, that building and of course apartment building, depending on when the taps and the water, make sure when everything's available, that we're kind of ready to go in the buildings. We really feel like this is a pretty intense, like a recreational package for a community. And we think that's gonna be the driving force of the sales. You know, we really kind of want to get this done. We don't want to kind of wait till the end and get the amenities, but we want to build them kind of up front and truly make it where, you know, when as you're selling the townhouses, the people are coming in and saying they're falling in love with the facilities as much as, you know, the community. And so, yeah, so it's all, hopefully, this will all come together as this is selling out, then we'll go there. The next phase we bring in, and we kind of, you know, I think the phase of going would be the singles. We just do the singles on the side. We want to get that, you know, started. So that would be sometime later this year. And then the final, you know, housing side on the town side would be this is one phase, and then the final 3 apartment buildings, that's probably how it would phase out. And there'll be kind of a mini phase that would be the path. I think the path's just gonna be its own plan at this point, is what the hell that's gonna come down. That'll be happening this year as well, so we're trying to keep it all moving on every level. So. Any questions or?
Is that path gonna be big enough, like they will have golf carts to go?
Right now, the plan is the path would be 5 foot wide. With every few hundred feet, we would have an access that would be 8 foot wide, just so if people were coming from a golf cart or a bicycle with one of those little things that carry a child behind, that there'd be plenty of spots to get over. The bridge will be wider, so kind of we plan on just envisioning putting every 300 or 400 foot, where if you saw someone in the path, you'd probably either be close to one of those and you can easily get by in a 5 foot. You'd be close anyway, but we are gonna, wherever we get the opportunity, because we're working with grade up there. The tricky part why that path looks like it looks is we literally walked this and shot everything, and we kind of, this was the path that best kind of laid to the land, which is still on a 5 foot wide path, and if you don't seem like much, but even a slope like that, you've got to get it cut in, and so we kind of looked at all that, but plenty of spots where it will be flat enough that we'll be able to widen it to the 8 foot. So as we get into a more detailed plan of that, that will all reflect on that plan, that we'll be able to kind of get that. We were talking about a lighting on the path, we talked about mile markers on the path and things like that we talked about at previous meetings, so that'll all be incorporated into that plan, just so that people kind of know where they are on the path, and yeah, so it's, I'm hoping it's gonna be as wonderful as I think it's gonna be, as far as just this little bike ride through there, or walk wherever it's through the woods. It's absolutely beautiful there. Obviously, we're doing the path because if you have if you have a form of connection that can avoid a wetland crossing, you have to, it's state law, you know, so we couldn't connect through roads, and so this path became the idea. After that was something we had to do, and but I think the connectivity still and being down now, it's become like a really kind of cool environmental feature. You're literally out in the forest, you know, on this walk through the woods, more so than just driving a road. It's going to make you, even if you're going from one community to the other, it's going to kind of really make you get out there and just enjoy it, because it's breathtaking. I mean, I've walked through here plenty of times, and you know, it's, you know, woods are, you know, beautiful in a lot of ways, but some woods are more beautiful than others, and this is a very beautiful spot in the woods. You know, nice tree growth, and yeah, it's a beautiful spot there, so excited about that. Anything else?
How many were that you used for that one? Not that I'm gonna remember this at all.
For this next phase,
Yeah,
we haven't really calculated those.
oh, okay.
I need to know exactly how many apartments are 1, 2, and 3 bedroom, and but the
We're fine.
plant is so close to being done. I mean, I don't think it's gonna hold, the plant is not gonna hold us up.
Right.
And the report I got today on the water tower, they're moving really fast, and they anticipate even having it pretty well under construction by the end of the summer, so.
Yeah,
Oh, wow.
that's
So-
awesome. And
Yeah,
then, and the the regs on, like a building would require apartments of 0.7 EDU, so like a 36 unit building would be 25. So this, and Michelle will do final bedroom count, if that adjusted a little bit as well, but it's kind of roughly in that ballpark. And the rec center, I think, is 2, so
Yeah.
it's
Not
not,
much.
it's not much there. So we're, yeah, so it's not like it's a amount, but yet, I see the treatment plant and the water being well far enough along before even permits would be issued, and then there's also an 8 or 9 month build up of those as well beyond that. So it's really whenever you guys are gonna be comfortable. We're really just getting positioned so that we get the infrastructure, and that's kind of how I'm looking at this, is get the infrastructure, and building permits on buildings can still be held until, so that's what my hope, that we could get there so we can be working on this summer. Because the last 2 winters, we're kind of getting trapped where we're halfway through a phase, and you just don't get there. You know, we were finishing paving this road this May, and they wouldn't allow us to start this phase through soils conservation until this was done and stabilized, and we were kind of working with soils conservation. And yeah, and that was supposed to be done in November before, per the contract, that's where we're just trying to kind of keep every next phase moving forward, so we can start getting that infrastructure in the ground, and so when the facilities are ready. Because there's also the taps that we're, even with our agreement with the town, we're paying, and that starts at the end of this year, to where it's 30 a year there, so they start getting those takedowns, is what we're trying to stay on that pace, but.
I think it'll all finish in time.
Yeah, oh, I think everything, yeah, I'm not concerned, I mean, we have enough EDUs, if
Yeah.
it came to it, still left. The problem is the health department has to sign off on the plats, and it's really, we're at a point in the plant, they really wanna see, that the plant's finished before they start signing on plats. But, I mean, we could push it if we really needed to, but I don't think it's gonna come to that.
No, I think the timing, I mean, April,
Should
May,
be
even
good.
June, I mean,
Yeah.
you know, the buildings, even we looked at something just to put the building permit tied in, you use even the phase of the infrastructure, I don't know if we can, but I'm always the moron in the room as far as knowing what legally, you know, goes along, but that's kind of what I'm envisioning, that we could be getting infrastructure, and then when you guys say, yep, we're good, green lighted, we're kind of that much closer to actually getting buildings built, because even with the sales, even back here, I worry about that, you know, you look at what, you know, what you're trying to be able to move that, and I know having that rec center started, people seeing even this, as you see it, you know, and can say, hey, this is gonna be here, you can see it, and then when there's no footings out there, you know it's coming sooner or later, but when there's footings in the ground or a foundation, all of a sudden you go, wow, this is actually coming along pretty nicely, and that's kind of what our goal will be, that we're getting towns ready to sell, that, you know, we could really bring the excitement of that building, the infrastructure going in, and I wanna put the tennis courts, the playground, that gazebo, I want all that to get finished out even by the end of this year, as far as, you know, if we can, we're gonna be pushing to get that, just to have the facilities out there, so we're, you know, just excited about.
And just a reminder, I mean, I know all of you were here at the time, but just the amount of open space and how we really concentrated the development, I think this is really a model plan, you know, that we can kind of really tout, because it's beautiful, you got what you needed, and
Yeah.
there's all that open space
You have
preserved.
65% or somewhere,
Yeah,
roughly 65% of open space is left, and we, even in the project, and we put, you know, the concern always on a large project like this, and we, as Quiet Homes, weren't gonna do anything short of it, that, you know, that required parking, we have 280 spots, doing roughly, like, I think it's 200, it was 255, I think there was a map there or somewhere, I think it's like 285 extra spots, when you look at even the spots along the street, back here, there's bays everywhere, we've got the units that also have double wide driveways, which some people with the single wide, well then you don't, you know, you can't get that second car there, and so they have a garage plus the double wide, so you know, a lot of excess parking as well, that's always important in something like this, if you're not, you know, I don't fear that as a concern at all, like I feel like we're in great shape there, even for the rec center, there's really nothing that kind of says what a rec center should be required, so we use a restaurant count. And a restaurant should get way more than a rec center would get. In most cases, even a high density of your people, even everywhere in this whole community, you know, Meadows will have the use of the facilities as well over here, and there will almost be in a form of like the pool membership or something is what that will ultimately be. But they may drive over, but most of those folks here, I mean, might be walking. They have small kids, they're gonna drive there and stuff, but there's like 80 some spots just around the rec center, so yeah, so it's, I'm excited about the plan. I mean, we've worked hard on it, we tried it, put a lot of, you know, thought and care into them, and you know, it's always exciting to see it get built out and you know, get to a finish line on it somewhere, but I'll miss it then, but yeah.
I just appreciate the diversity of housing choices, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, that's a big part, and then it's still kind of rural, like
Yeah.
rural is maybe not the right word.
No,
because
that's exactly
an
right.
apartment complex, it's kind of out and
That's exactly right.
tucked away, right?
Yeah.
And
No, it's
usually those are more in, you know, everybody's face
Yep.
and.
It's gonna give you that feel that it's gonna be tucked away, it's gonna have woods behind it, even for people living in the
Yeah.
apartments, it's gonna feel like a really nice
I
living.
think they'll appreciate that.
It's
right?
not gonna be like building after building, so it's not piled, and even when we did what we did, when we actually went to, and it was basically, I guess in the town, there was you guys were modifying the ordinances at the time, that when we did the conversion to even go to this, it was about, basically we had, you know, Mr. Lumpkin back here, and he was, you know, I'm good friends with him, and talked to him, and he was like, how close are you getting to me? You know, we were like, all right, Earl, we're gonna go. So we were kind of doing this, and there's a major, you can see right here on the thing, you can see a major kind of a wetland here, and we were gonna cross that, go back here, and this was all single families, and we were gonna work under the normal ratios. When you hear 30% of space, it sounds like a lot until you see it on paper, and then it just doesn't feel like a lot. And so the trade-off was, I guess, on projects like this, if you went to 50% open space, then you could go to higher density. But when we did that, we weren't packing the density, like we did, this would be double the density if we went by numbers, we didn't do that. We said, look, we're just gonna convert our singles to this, but we're not gonna try to get a bunch, but I think the housing is a big part of it, and I've said that before, like, and it gets fault in most areas, a lot of areas it gets fault partly because people, they don't respect that but you need an ecosystem of housing, just like the environment needs an ecosystem. You need to have the right ingredients and the right kind of, whether you need some fallow fields, and you need some string, you need all that. Well, in housing, if you don't have, some townhouses and apartments, and maybe years ago, that wasn't the case, when you can build the singles and they cost $350, but now that singles cost $650,
Yeah.
and a townhouse, there's no young person that can stay here, and it's sad, and I see it in Calvert County, my backyard, and it's my kids, all their friends, they're coming up on, Mr. Gress, like, where can we live in this town? I'm like, I don't even know what to tell you, like, I wish I had a better answer, but there's really no good answer, and it's just sad, so this at least gives somebody a chance, whether they can, they might stay in an apartment for a while, and then they might buy one of the townhouses, and then they might grow from there, and then they might go across the street and buy a single family in Meadows 1 or Leonard's Grant, and they might, but yet the bottom line is they still evolve and they get to stay in Leonardtown if they choose to, if they board a rate train, they want to do that. And as we were doing this, there was actually a couple of kids that we were talking about that were actually, leaving because they didn't have the opportunities in the places. So we're hoping it brings that to the town and so
And
it's a
part of
great
the
thing.
comp plan, for those of you that were on there know, the state is really very rapidly going to, there's gonna be requirements that we have to show that we're having a certain amount of multifamily and not necessarily affordable housing, but, housing for everyone. So, I mean, this really helps diversify our housing stock, and I think we looked really good in the comp plan, but I mean, I saw some bills yesterday that were introduced that, I mean, it's really rapidly coming to where it's gonna be a requirement.
Absolutely. The state's been pushing this for years. The counties, a lot of the counties still fight back. Calvert's a prime example of that. If you build, basically if you build, it's very shunned upon. And I talked to the commissioners there, they're good friends of mine. I talked to them like, oh my buddy, like, you need this for the kids. Like, I know you have kids. I know they have friends. Like, how can you feel like that everybody can pay for this $700,000? And I said, I wish I could do it cheaper on the single family side. I wish I could keep doing that. We built 5,000 single family homes. We built our first townhouses this year. We've never done it. But the weird part was when I could provide that single family home, and I felt like people were getting this great thing. Well, now my numbers are still the same. I add them up. I'm on the same percentages. I'm being as fair as I can. And the house adds up to be $700,000. I want to cry. And when people are like, hey, that's a great deal. Then I'm thinking, what the hell's happened
How
to
do
the world?
people pay for that?
How does this world come where that's normal, or that's okay? And I don't even know what to say about it. So I enjoy more. I got, even Leonard's Grant or anything, like for me, like building for me was fun when you did it for people and they got something that like was their chance or the value. I never wanted to build for, we did it, we were, I don't know why I'm even.
We do that to you every time.
I know, it's crazy. Why did everybody miles? And it's like,
Sorry.
no,
I
no,
agree
it's
with
great.
you, I know how hard it was.
No.
I remember
It's a
before I
struggle.
moved over here, I was like, Rodney, when are you building something for the IT?
Yeah, exactly. But even when we started building, like in the early days, and we're building a house for, could have been the Ranch Club, we're building a house for $100,000, and we had people come to the sub table crying because they never thought they could afford that house.
Right.
Yeah.
It's nice, I mean, you
And
provide
now
a
you,
service.
now you can only build for people that like are established, have equity. I can't even, you can't build that. So that's what this hopefully brings back some of that, where you can actually put people in housing, create housing for people that basically need that. And it, like Lachelle said, nothing's cheap. It's not like it's cheap. I mean, but it's still gonna be, this is gonna be the best version that can be of this product because we are competitive and we set that mark for a community. And when people do, even when you have a project like it to somebody else, there's people that would take anything they try to gouge, so to speak, or whatever. We don't do that. We set our marks where they being fair, and it is the right price. We set the mark where people need to compete with us more, and that's what we like. We like a good, healthy marketplace. We make a fair profit, but it does give people that chance if they're in that range. But it's sad to see housing. I think I cry with just that alone. Housing in the United States right now is just sad, and it's a combination of a lot of things. It's too much to. You guys deal with it on a daily basis, talking about how do you decide that. When people say affordable housing in certain areas, it's almost unheard of now because it's even the development process through most of Maryland is so difficult that you can't do it just for that alone. It takes all the affordability right out of it, and yet a lot of these regulations are needed. So I understand. I'm not, it's definitely an interesting equation right now. But
Very eye-opening to hear that from you.
Yeah, it really, it's sad in many ways, but I'm excited about this, and I think this is actually gonna be a great, housing product for Leonardtown, and, yeah, so I can't wait to get started. Yeah, we're tweaking the townhouse now, we draw those on those floor plans, and just, little things we do, we kinda, that's my fun stuff, is when you get to keep working on these things.
Bonnie, I have one question. I think the facades look great. I think the amenities are really nice. And it's true, we've talked about this in earlier phases, but all this traffic going out on the 245, how is that gonna be handled? So,
Sammy, per all the traffic studies were done originally and all, they show that it's basically, handles it. We actually did the improvements, so when it said the state highway is done, we did that improvement. We added a, kind of longer XL and decel lanes that weren't there before, that allow for this, and just meaning somebody's coming, towards the project, direction, I don't know what direction or whatever, but.
South, like if they're coming from Hollywood south.
Right, so when they come in there, so there wasn't even a turn lane there, and that would have clogged traffic, and also now there's a turn lane, I think holds like 6 or 7 vehicles, and per traffic studies, like it's nowhere close in the sense that they just never overstack, even during a rush hour or something, it should never stack. So when we did that, we actually made sure they were kind of not even cutting it close, and just once again, those XL decel lanes, wherever you bring on a project like that's really what really matters. You just need to have the proper amount of space for people to get off the road, and it doesn't clog, and things just keep flowing, and that's, I'm confident that this should be fine with handling, the 300 units for sure.
And that was all done, that was the very first thing they
Right.
did, was the entrance on 245 and all those improvements, they're all done.
It seems like that was,
I know,
that was
like
quite a
years
while ago
ago.
now, a couple years ago now, yeah, that's crazy.
Have we figured out if that light slows anything down or helps anywhere?
I think it's hard for Meadows One to get out sometimes
Yeah.
with the light there.
Jay's
I mean,
mentioned that.
it's unfortunate that we couldn't get it to line up, which I know you tried.
Right,
But, I mean, I've done it, I mean, it just depends the time of the day, but I don't think it's really,
Well, I meant more so
terrible.
like slowing it down on 245.
I mean, it gives you a break.
Yeah.
For sure, in the traffic.
Yeah, and I think, with that, you might have been there a couple times and you're coming out, whether you're making, obviously you're making the left,
Left
obviously,
is
towards
the
the
hard
but if
way.
you're going right, I mean, you tend to, if you struggle, you tend to learn that, you kind of, sometimes people change their route if they go a certain way though,
Yeah.
but, sometimes over time it evolves, but it hasn't been real bad. I mean, we've actually, from what we've seen, I mean, it hasn't stacked where people,
Yeah, I
No.
haven't gotten any complaints from anyone else. I mean, Jay had mentioned that it was a little harder, but I don't even think that he's really concerned about it now. But I haven't, I mean, I go through there every day, at least twice, and it's not really backed up or anything.
Well, I always felt like because that light, when I was left there, the traffic stops and allows me to get
Yeah.
out there.
It's just
Yeah.
sometimes, like
Safely.
in the mornings, it's kind of more traffic coming into town, so there'll be a lot at the light, so if someone's trying to come out, then there's no room for them to get onto 245, but I really haven't seen that really in the last couple months,
and some of it
especially.
does come down to courtesy, which is, I
Yeah.
think but people will see somebody and they're letting them, but it does take, like the light creates the gap, and
Yeah.
for people that are anxious, for getting out there, eventually it seems like it's weird, they'll hold, but then they jump, and that's what you don't want, because that's
Right.
usually when a bad decision's made, so you really want that traffic, knowing that gap's coming, that anxious person or young
Yeah.
driver, whatever it may be, will
Wait a
sit
little
there
bit, yeah.
and know that gap's coming, so that sometimes can help, but
Yeah.
I think,
I mean, I think I would have heard something by now. if it was
This,
a-
Yeah, I was
this
reading
should
that.
flow much better than,
That's what I was wondering, if it would
Yeah.
help
Yeah.
that entrance to Doug's question.
but this will flow much better just because it's just the two entrances right there. We actually originally were trying to line up and get lined up and we couldn't. We tried to buy the properties where we did, we
Yeah.
couldn't get access there. So it came here and then of course it was right at the edge of our property. So that is just tight by design. That is one of, this is nothing like that. I mean, this is kind of an open stretch of road. We've got the decels that require, so this should not feel anything like Meadows 1. It should
And it's
actually.
just outside,
smoothly.
the 40 mile an hour, so when you're starting to speed up, if you're coming from town, and then you're slowing down if you're coming the other way, because you're going into the 40 mile an hour right there at McIntosh.
Mm.
It should be good.
So where did they put that, the sign for the reduce the 40 is right at
It's
McIntosh?
like right before McIntosh, like on the Hollywood side of McIntosh Road.
And that's even when projects get in, they can look at even adjusting things like that,
Yeah.
put it a little further out or something.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah,
That's
they may,
kind of why I
may
caught
do
on to
that eventually.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's something that, and
Yeah.
it can always be done. It's weird how just minor tweaks whether it's lights, timing of lights, and any type of, when you see a lot of these traffic issues, it really sometimes can be some very minimal things that make a humongous difference.
Yeah.
And that's, you know, you see all the time. When you go through the green light, and you get to the next red, it was right there in the turn red, and when you go, why would they do that?
Yeah.
That's an example of that. You know, I think State Highway's starting to get a little better at that, but it's like, even going through Prince Trevor where I'm at all the time, I'm always like, how would you not have them going up? Everybody goes north in the morning, and they come south in the
I
evening.
know.
Like, how would you not have them kind of just like Ocean City, just click, 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 click?
Right.
And, but I think they've just done that recently in Prince Rupert, and it's actually made a humongous difference, so, so there's always little things like that that help too.
Not to belabor this, but I used to be able to get through Ocean City and know all the lights. I like knew when I would hit them and like,
Yeah.
oh, it's on.
Yeah, you know, that's how long you have, at least you got 8 lights under your belt before you hit that next one, so, maybe 10. So, anything else? Yep. Like I say, if you guys want any of
Yeah,
this,
I might keep some of them just
Yeah,
because of,
Take
people
very
coming
much.
in and wanna see.
keep them all if you want, that way I don't have to carry them down, you wanna come down there.
Some of my collection.
I was thinking that earlier, but I just, he just doesn't want to have to carry them back.
I carry them in every time, I'm giving them a shot right now, I'm giving them the whole batch right now. I'm giving them the whole batch.
I think I have a lot to throw out and I'll add these, because people like to see them when they come in and
Yeah,
ask about the
absolutely.
project all the time.
And this is kind of the connectivity one, we did this
Yeah.
just for the sidewalks to
Yeah,
show
and
that.
I love, I always bring out the one, and mine's getting really ratty with all the green around it.
Yep,
so-
it's all yours.
Perfect, thank you. Okay.
You ready for a motion?
Yep, I'll move to approve the request for case number 100-15C, final site development plan and architectural facade and record plat drawings for Meadows at Town Run, Section 2, Phase 3.
Second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you guys so much. Yep, stay warm. See you,
Nice to
bye-bye,
meet
nice to
you.
meet you,
Nice
nice
to
to meet
meet
you.
you.
Yep, nice to meet you. See you,
Bye.
bye-bye. Bye, take care, bud.
The last item on our agenda today is the review of the monthly in-house permits, both November and December. Anybody had any questions about those? Look, comments, questions? Then I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn.